Hello and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. We are live from Music Compound in Sarasota, Florida, and we're using a really cool app named Switcher Studio, and just logging on here to make sure that everything is going well. And if you can drop a like. We're using a really cool app named Switcher Studio, and just log on. Here we go. All right. So please like and share the broadcast. I'm gonna play Linus and Lucy for you, and as you're coming in, and we're going to talk about some amazing tips that we've gleaned from celebrities, we've gleaned from instructors, and our own in-house lead drum instructor, Jared Johnson, will be joining us a little later. And so, welcome to the broadcast. Here's Linus and Lucy. Eighth notes. All right, that is one of my favorite holiday songs, and it's cool to hear so many students of all ages say it's one of their favorite holiday songs as well. Linus and Lucy is not necessarily an easy song to play in its entirety. There are a couple little parts of it, though, that just about any beginner can play. And one of those things is looking at the notes in groups of threes. And so that's something on any instrument, but for right now, I'm just going to show you from this keyboard in the kids' rock room, 3 notes that any beginner can doodle with for Linus and Lucy and have some fun with this little riff during the holidays. So you want to find your C, your D, and your E. Those 3 notes are going to go really well together. And so our C is considered the low note, the D is the middle, and the E is the higher note. So we're going to go low, mid, high. So we're going to practice that going low, mid, high, almost like you're walking up the steps of a musical ladder. Okay, now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to walk down E, D, C. So high, mid, low. And we're going to connect those so it's not just, we're going to play them, because we wouldn't walk down a ladder like that, or else we may fall off the ladder. So we're going to step backwards, almost where you could count 1, 2, 3, or boom, boom, boom. So we've got steps up and then steps back down. So let's try that together a little slower. All right, there's 2 more notes, and then you've got the main little melodic riff. We're going to go mid, low, which is D to C. D, C. Helps if I play it right. D, C. So that's at the very end of the ladder. So we go up, we go back down, a step up, back down. One more. Join with me if you're at home, if you've got a little keyboard. Also on the replays later. All right, so that's the main little riff that anyone can doodle around with. Wanted to mention a big thank you to Mellow Mushroom on 6727 South Tamiami Trail in Sarasota. Michelle, who is the head of catering out there, supplied our staff here at Music Compound with some incredible pizzas and salads. There's even a bunch of gluten-free pizzas there, or here rather, that were brought here. And just wanted to encourage everyone, they're a local business. They started out more in the southeast area and they've spread all throughout the country. But definitely consider for a special night. They've got social distancing in place. They've got really healthy ingredients. Consider going out to Mellow Mushroom and making a night of it. So wanted to welcome you to Lunch and Learn. We're going to go over some of these holiday tips. So there's a video compilation that I want you to check out. We're going to hear from Ed Sheeran. We're going to hear from Rick Beato. And then a couple little points from the TEDx learning series.
Hi, I'm Tom. I just wanted to ask, have you any advice or top tips for any upcoming musicians or any kind of wisdom you'd like to share?
Of course. I think the key... Have you ever heard of this theory about the 10,000 hours theory?
Yes.
Yeah. So that theory works, right? So
well.
when I first started out, I came from writing a song a day or 2 songs a day or 5 songs a day and just getting all these songs out of me, doing 1 million gigs, sometimes 3 gigs a day. We did 6 gigs a day one year at Glass.
Don't practice what you know, practice what you don't know. You always want to keep learning new things, whether it's new scales, new arpeggios, new melodic patterns.
There are many theories that attempt to quantify the number of hours, days, and even years of practice that it takes to master a skill. While we don't yet have a magic number, we do know that mastery isn't simply about the amount of hours of practice. It's also the quality and effectiveness of that practice. We usually think of rhythm as an element of music, but it's actually found everywhere in the world around us. From the ocean tides to our own heartbeats, rhythm is essentially an event repeating regularly over time.
All right, so some brilliant advice from really some masters of music. Ed Sheeran, incredible songwriter, he's referring to the 10,000 hour rule. Rick Beato, he's talking about how you want to practice things that you don't know. You want to practice something. And you know what's cool is I've been playing music for well over 20 years now. And that's something that when I heard Rick Beato say that, it spoke to me personally. It's like, yeah, you want to practice things that you don't know other than what you do know at a certain point. And so there's different rules for practice, and we say rules lightly. But there's different methods of practice for advanced students or professionals, and then there's different methods for beginners as well. We're going to talk more about the beginning and intermediate level today, and so we want to keep your music fresh over the holidays. These were some tips that any level could really benefit from. For one, you want to create the right atmosphere, get the right setup that works for you. So that means that your instruments are ready to go, whatever it is. If it's a piano, where that lid is not cluttered with a lot of frames or knickknacks. It is ready to be opened and enjoyed and played. If it is a guitar, that means that it's going to be out of the gig bag, it's going to be on a stand, it's going to be accessible, ready to play. You want to warm up. Like a physical workout, a warm-up is essential. And that's something that a professor of mine, I'm so grateful, Dr. John Emke from University of South Carolina, he taught me some different finger exercises. And one of them, I have been doing this for a very long time, and it definitely helps. I share this with many of my students, and I want to share it with you. In the holidays, a lot of times we end up at places, grandma and grandpa's, there's no piano, there's no guitar. You're in the car for hours, there's no instrument. So how can you practice? Well, you've got hands and you've got fingers. One of the battles about making music is actually the physical dexterity, the finger strength and dexterity. That's half the battle. So you want to get that right. So this is a really fun technique. So I just call this the energy ball. And that's how it was taught to me. I'm pressing finger to finger, bone against bone there. And so it's not the most comfortable feeling at first because the fingertips are really kind of pressing into each other. Then we flatten this into a prayer position. Gently bring your wrist back. Now I can do that because I've been doing this a while, so don't press it too hard or too fast. We don't want any sprained wrists, but this really opens up the blood flow in your forearms. Now I'm telling you, if you do this multiple times a day over your holidays break, any age, you're going to reap the benefits in 2021. So that's one of the things that really is fun and easy to do. Have a goal. So what is the goal? Is it a new song? Is it a new technique? Now be realistic about that goal. If you're just starting out playing guitar, it's not necessarily going to happen overnight, but you may want to say, hey, instead of playing with all of Bohemian Rhapsody, I want to learn the first 3 measures of it in the next month. And that is a realistic goal, and it's an attainable goal. Identify and overcome any problems that you have with working through that music. Another great tip is the whole thing about writing on your music. Writing on that actual piece of paper is something that at that point you don't have to rely on your memory. It's fine. Go ahead and write a note on your book. Now, there's so much more that I'd love to tell you about practicing. One more thing before we get to Jared's interview, which is active listening. And what I mean by this is most of the time we're listening to music and it's in the background. When we listen actively, that means we're really honing in and listening. What are the drums doing in our favorite song? Let's listen one time through and just focus on the drum part. Another time through, let's just focus on what is the guitarist doing. That kind of approach is actually like practice. And because it's active listening, it's not passive. Passive is just, oh yeah, I heard that song, somebody was playing it in the background. Active is, it's exercising the same neural pathways as if you're actually going through the song. And so that's something to consider, where you could listen to a song a number of times over the holidays. Keep choosing a different instrument to listen to in that song and I guarantee you your musical mind is going to grow. With that being said, I'm going to welcome Jared Johnson, our lead drum instructor at Music Compound in Sarasota, Florida. You could learn technically what that beat was 20 years ago, but now you're putting that maturity into it. You're really honoring the groove, feeling the rhythm, and that's what gets people clapping along.
And I think that's the thing too, for like, when we watch drummers or any musician who's really at an inspired level and they can play the same thing that we're playing and it's just night and day, like I don't sound like that, or like I don't bring that to the table musically. I don't add that to the song, I don't bring that life to it. Like maybe I'm not saying I'm like, awful and like it doesn't sound okay, but like, sometimes I don't feel like I capture that yet. So it's definitely cool to actually really feel like you're bringing what you should be, to it.
To the song.
But yeah, some of those drummers, like why do they sound so much better than I do? I'm doing the same thing. Like what's different? There's all these nuances to it, but
Excellent. Yes, the nuances, and that's something that we were going to talk a little later about. It is dynamics. That a lot of times, it's not just about that quarter note or that eighth note. It's what is the dynamic of maybe the second eighth note, and getting that kind of detail in there. That this was extremely cool. Your own personal growth with how you're dissecting really advanced drum parts and how you're learning that. Yes.
So I think a big part of my approach to practice and to learning new stuff is pretty analytical. So just breaking it down into different sections, really trying to understand those sections really well and like internalize them. So get really comfortable with this part and get to the point where like I'm not really thinking about it anymore. It's just I know how I want it to sound. It's just coming out when I want it to, and getting really comfortable with that before I move on. And maybe I'm working on other parts at the same time and trying to get to that point with them. So I'm, kind of like being as effective as possible. But definitely very analytical, and I like to break things down into different sections and then combine them together and then gradually build them back up into the whole thing. And I definitely think that's we were talking too about like, since we're going to talk about practice and how to practice and what works well and what doesn't. I definitely think this is kind of like a more advanced level of practice. I really wanted to talk with Matt about levels of practice in terms of, we have a lot of younger students, or even, maybe that aren't younger, but they're newer to it. And like, when you first get into it, you don't want to spend 6 hours working on technique or trying to figure out, every single little detail to every little thing. That's just not where you are, and that's totally cool. So we want to make sure that we kind of express, how to get into it and get started to practice, and anything you want to do extra beyond that is cool. Like do it, knock yourself out. But the biggest thing is just starting that. Like actually, if you can make like a 1% change in what you're doing, and then keep that consistent over time, that 1% becomes a lot more than that in some ways.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was talking to some guy, but he's like, "Well, what's 1%?" And I was like, "Okay, don't get, you don't have to get too crazy. Like we don't need to quantify it that specifically, but just the point is making a small change." What you're doing. So, if it's just like we've had some students who like, oh man, I don't really want to practice. So just sitting down and practicing like one of the things you worked on in your lesson for like 5 minutes every other day is, if you're not practicing at all, that's a big change. So even just doing that and like coming back to your lesson, kind of like familiar with what you did last time. Like if you come back to the lesson and you don't remember it at all, that's way harder to like build on it, right? We've got to like learn it again, really. At least we're fresh on it, and then maybe we'll pick it back up immediately. But then if you already kind of knew it and you remember how it goes immediately without even having to like have someone play it for you again, it's really in here already. And in your body, and especially with drums, I feel like it's very like full body. Like you have to be comfortable with all the different motions and the coordination and everything. So just getting comfortable with all that, and really already having it in there by the time you come back, even if it's just in a basic way, like maybe we still need to work on getting it faster so you can play it in time with the song or something, but just doing it a little bit. And just having those little kind of like goals, like, okay, well, for like 2 or 3 weeks, I played like 5 minutes every other day, and I tried 2 or 3 different beats, and now I'm like more solid in those, and you'll see a difference. Like you will be able to play those faster just from having practiced them, even slower. But I really think like the kick drum snare drum relationship is still usually reflected in a guitar rhythm part as well.
True. Yeah, it's got that space in there.
Yeah, and also, especially with students too, like if I play, you know, like Wonderwall, boom, down, da boom, down, da boom, down, down, down. So with the bass drum and snare drum part for like Wonderwall, for example.
Strumming matched up exactly with what he's doing, and then start adding the chords. These are 4 chords: E minor, G, D, and A minor, basically. If a student focused on that kind of rhythm and they're listening to a song, they're actively listening, they're tapping along with it, that kind of thing, can that translate into other genres, other songs, or is it just specific for that song?
I think particularly in drums, but also in plenty of other instruments, there's definitely a lot of overlap between a lot of genres.
What's kind of your prescription for a healthy dose of, you know, practice over the holidays for beginning students?
You know, typically, I'd say overall, most of the students who are, you know, into it, they want to play songs, which is perfect. That's what we want. We want a love of music early on. Especially when you're younger. Just pick whatever aspect of your lessons you enjoy the most, you know. Keep in mind, like, you might have to practice, like, if you want to play this song, you might have to, you know, practice the beat a little bit more and get a little bit faster to work up to that speed. Also, you know, Matt and I had talked about, one thing I use all the time with my students is an app, or, you know, you can, a variety of apps that change the speed of the music. So this is also great if you're like a singer, you can change the key of the song. So Music Speed Changer on like Android devices, AnyTune is the app for iPhone and that kind of thing. So, and you can just look up Music Speed Changer app on any platform and you'll find these. You can just get a free one. The only trick is, like, you have to own the music, like, on, you know, so you have to, you know, purchase it on iTunes, or if you have it on a CD and you throw it on your computer and then transfer it to your iPhone or whatever you're doing. So you need to own that file. Like, you can't, like, use a streaming service or something like that. You have to actually be able to, like, move that file wherever you want to. And then you'll be able to open it in there and slow the speed down, change the key if you need to.
Even if it's not the right chords or anything, you do your best to get that rhythm matched up.
Yeah, for sure. And also, even with, like, I try to tell my students too, if you know to play boom, ch, da, ch, boom, ch, da, ch, even if the song's playing something different from that, you can probably hop on there and play boom, chick, da, chick, boom, chick. And the snare drums are still gonna line up. The bass drum's still probably gonna line up. They might be doing extra stuff on the snare and the bass, but that still works with it. You can make that work and just have fun playing the song. Down the road, you can start adding in some of the extras, you know, as you get more advanced and everything. But you can always play along to the songs that you enjoy, even if you just like playing kick and snare, just to, like, match the beat. If it's, like, you know, playing the hi-hat's a little too challenging. You know, I'll have kids, like, sit there and do boom, boom, da, boom, boom, da, if they're not comfortable doing, like, the 8th note hi-hats at the same time, you know, because they're pretty young, you know. So boom, boom, da. At least they're playing along to a song, you know. So it's enjoyable. I definitely think practicing to music is a little more interesting than just playing with, like, a metronome or on your own. So
excellent point. Yeah, definitely consider that and get your practice environment set up for it. So whether it's, you know, with headphones or you've got a little Bluetooth speaker, so that you can do that. And you've got me inspired to want to practice some drums and some guitar. And so appreciate you inspiring everybody, and looking forward to the next.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent tips from Jared, and really enjoyed that. Looking forward to more times gleaning from his experience and other instructors here at MC as well. The thing that Jared mentioned about the 1% change, that's something that is really paramount in becoming a better musician. So whatever level you're at already, let's say that you're just working on Silent Night. And so okay, those 3 notes there, what you could do, even with those 3 notes, you can encourage your student at home with this as well, is switch up the fingers that you use to play those notes. So one of the first most basic things is switch the hand. So if I'm always playing it with my right hand, go ahead and try it with the left. Now, normally what's going to happen is everything's going to change for a second. It's going to go, you know, something that's not even the melody, because the way that the brain is processing this change of being dominant with the left hand, you really need to recenter and look, okay, what are the notes that I'm playing, and recalibrate. Another way is to play that riff with 2 different hands. So let's say I've got 2 fingers in my right hand, 1 with my left. Doesn't matter which fingers right now. We're not talking about classical technique. We're talking about getting the actual mechanical motion of the fingers going in rhythm with these notes. So a lot of times beginners rely on the 2-handed method, which I do encourage. So that's my little 2-minute notice here. So I'm going to click on and see if there's any questions, comments. Thank you, Dad, for tuning in. You got rhythm. Thank you, Alyssa and Mary. Please share, like, and share. This series is in development. We're growing. Each time you're going to see new changes. You're going to see different graphics, different video episodes, and just having fun as we walk through the Lunch and Learn evolution process here. Remember, visit Mellow Mushroom, especially when the temperatures are down here a little bit. Go and get a nice piping hot pizza. And if you get one from me, please make it gluten-free. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to play you a little outro music. Enjoy the rest of your day, and remember to encourage your student at home. Encourage yourself as well. Give it 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Change the way you're doing things. Look at it a little differently, and you'll come back even better in 2021. By the way, I've spent countless hours practicing this, so I'm going to enjoy playing it for you. Have an amazing holidays season, and we will see you soon.